Welcome to A Fan's Perspective. It's your boy Boogie 45. I got my boy Bogey in here. Quick thoughts. How you feeling, Bogey?
Man, you know what I'm saying? Just slow motion in the big old ocean.
Real talk, real talk. Um, so today we talking about this Jay-Z casino bid, right?
Mhm.
And rejected. But I'm gonna do a little breakdown on business deals, like two business deals that Jay-Z did, and I'm also gonna look at the casino bid that Nas got approved for. You know what I'm saying? So let's start it off.
A casino in the middle of Times Square appears to be dead in the water. Now, this proposal, backed by Caesars and Jay-Z, denied by advisory committee just a short time ago. Let's get right out to Arthur Chien in Times Square with the news that just came down not too long ago. Arthur, what's the latest?
Bianca, we've got layers of breaking news here. Up until minutes ago, it was that the bid for a casino in Times Square had been rejected by that committee. But now we've also learned that the casino bid for a project that would go into Hudson Yards is also done, ended. So this was a key vote by this advisory committee that you mentioned. And it was a key vote because our understanding is if it didn't pass this committee, it wouldn't go to the Gaming Commission. We're going to check on the exact implications of it. All of this is necessitated because 3 downstate casino licenses are going to be granted this year. That was the original plan by Albany, and that's the reason why these committees were formed. Now, the Times Square project was backed by Caesars Entertainment and real estate giant SL Green Realty. They needed 4 of the 6 votes in order to move forward, but they only got 2 of the votes on this board. One of the yes votes that they got in support of the casino bid here was the appointee of Mayor Eric Adams. Now, those proposing casinos have talked about the number of jobs it would create and the tax revenue that would come in from people gambling, or really people not being good at gambling, losing at gambling. But that has faced significant backlash by communities who've talked about fears of an increase in crime, poverty, and traffic. Now, we're going to show you, we're going to play for you a soundbite from Assemblyman Tony Simone, one of those nay votes. It's a rocky video, but a lot of people wanted to hear from him in a very narrow space. What he has to say is important, so we're going to roll that for you right now.
The CAC, the Community Advisory Committee, was formed in the budget, the state legislature, with the governor signing off that it would hear from the community, people who actually lived in the community. We heard them loud and clear. I've always said from early on, I personally don't support gambling or casino, but I would listen to my constituents. Overwhelmingly, we've heard from residents from Manhattan Plaza to Midtown, even small businesses around emailing, calling us, over 1,000 emails and phone calls saying they did not want this to be the economic driver in our district.
Now, that was the reasoning behind rejecting the Times Square bid for a casino here, but that was the same reasoning that ended the bid for what was called the Avenue. That was the bid for a casino in Hudson Yards. That was backed by Silverstein Properties, Rush Street Gaming, and Greenwood Gaming. Again, the power of this committee, as we understand it, is that if it didn't pass these communities, that it would go wouldn't be voted on in Albany. So it is very significant. There are other competing casino bids in Coney Island, for instance, out in Flushing as well. We'll see how those go. But many people have pointed out that with the advent of online gambling, that these casinos and cities are no longer a sure bet. We'll have much more to talk about as the day continues, but for now we go back to you, Bianca.
Okay. So yeah, so at the end of the day, his casino bid got denied, but let me play a little something of SL Green, which is one of his partners in this deal. And he had some choice words. He had some choice words from New York. So what are you talking about? Yo.
And then some, and the only one with courage to stand up is the governor and the mayor appointees, and everybody else runs and hides. Go run and hide. Because what you did, the benefits you denied this community and this city and state, you have to live with that history forever. We met the standard
One more
and
time.
then some, and the only one with courage to stand up is the governor and the mayor appointees, and everybody else runs and hides. Go run and hide. Because what you did, the benefits you denied this community and this city and state, you have to live with that history forever.
All right, so that's one of Jay-Z partners that was in the deal, you know, and you know, he had some choice words for, you know, getting that bid rejected. So it's put over to us that the casino was going to be beneficial to the community, right? I even heard, oh, you know, the casino has a great program for people that are gambling addicts. I said,
You go to, and they
You
got
know
the
what I mean?
program for gambling through the casino.
yeah, like, you know, but what I'm going to break down real fast, right, is the pros and the cons of opening up a casino, right? So let's start there. I'm gonna roll over to my friend ChatGPT. We're gonna see what it do.
What up, chat?
Sure. Okay. So, okay, ChatGPT. So let me see what I'm gonna ask. What are the pros and the cons of? Hold on. What are the pros?
Maybe the economical pros and cons, or maybe no. You're right. Just pros and cons. Period.
Mm-hmm.
While you're looking that up, it was kind of funny to me. While the way he worded it, right? Like you guys are going to remember. You guys are going to. They're going to forget this forever in history. Or how did he word it? He said something.
Yeah, because I guess because of the funding, or you know, where you know,
Yeah,
where the
what it
extra
could do
funding
for
would
the
have went.
city.
Yeah, so let's break it down. All right, so that's what ChatGPT says, right? All right, chat. So opening up a casino in a community could have significant impacts, both positive and negative, depending on how it's managed, regulated and integrated into a local economy. Here's a breakdown of the main pros and cons. The pros of opening up a casino: economic growth and job creation. Casinos create jobs, dealers, hospitality staff, security, and management. They also attract tourists, boosting spending at local hotels, restaurants, and shops. Increased tax revenue. Local and state governments often collect substantial tax revenue from casino operations, which can fund schools, infrastructure, and community services. Tourism development. A casino can draw visitors from outside the community, potentially leading to new entertainment venues, events, and conventions. Business opportunities. Small businesses, restaurants, bars, taxis, rideshare shops may benefit from increased foot traffic. Urban development. Some communities use casinos as anchors to revitalize struggling downtowns or underdeveloped areas. The cons of owning a casino: problem gambling and addiction. Increased access can lead to higher rates of gambling addiction, which may harm individuals' families financially and emotionally. Crime and social issues. Casinos may be linked to higher rates of theft, fraud, money laundering, or substance abuse in some communities.
And
Economic
hoeing.
displacement. Huh?
And hoeing.
Yeah. Economic displacement. Local entertainment businesses, bars, theaters, arcades may lose customers to the casino, leading to closures rather than net growth. Unequal economic benefits. While casinos generate revenue, much of the profit may go to investors or corporations rather than staying in the local economy. Community opposition and moral concerns. Some residents oppose gambling for cultural, ethical, or religious reasons, which can create division within the community. Short-term boosts, long-term uncertainty. Some areas see an initial economic boom, but experience stagnation later if the casino fails to keep attracting visitors or if oversaturation, too many casinos occurs. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
basically, when you put this over to the people and you say that, you know, the casino can benefit the community, you have to tell both sides of it. There's two
Yeah.
sides to that coin. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, a casino's there to make money, and people go there to gamble. Don't go there to barter or trade. You know, pay my money, I get a product. In return. You pay your money, not most of the times you're not gonna get shit in return.
For real.
You know what I'm saying? So it can pull money out the community. So I think when these things, see, my thing is like if it's a money play, let it be a money play, but don't put it over to the people like it's gonna help, but without discussing
Yeah, like
both
they're gonna
sides of the
regret
coin.
their decision
I hear you.
for not voting for it. Like that, people
Yeah, I'm
don't
just
want.
like, because we're talking about Times Square, bro. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
and you'll change it forever when you add a casino. If you add a casino there,
But
it changes it forever.
if you know what Manhattan has came from to where Manhattan is now, Manhattan had nothing but gambling. It was gambling and prostitution going on back then. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? And all throughout Manhattan. They shut down a lot of those places to clean that city up. So now they got it to the point where they can charge top dollar for everything.
yeah.
They don't want something that's gonna bring, and this is my
The
opinion.
value down.
I feel like they don't want something that's gonna bring the value down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Also,
They-
they made it seem like, okay, well, opening a casino can affect the tourism because instead of the tourists spending money in the local economy, they're going to the casino. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I don't know how solid that argument is, because at the end of the day, if I came up here to do certain things, that's what I'm going to do. If I didn't come here to gamble and I came here to enjoy certain, events, or
I
you
mean,
know, then I'm gonna come up here and do that. You know what I mean? But I get it though. And then plus the crime element. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It brings a certain crowd. You see what I'm saying?
yeah.
So my thing is, discuss both
I mean,
sides
you
of it.
got nightclubs in Manhattan too.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, right. So it's like whenever the clubs let out, where do people usually do? They go to the casinos. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. It
I
could,
mean, that's what we do,
that's going to be the new Apty spot.
right?
You know?
It's like, you feel me, tonight, and it's the city that doesn't sleep. So it's like the casino's gonna be like, it's just gonna be. It's when if they ever put a casino right there, man. I mean, because even the one in Queens, right? It's like in the
Mhm.
outskirts. You were telling me, right? Lightweight.
Yeah.
It's not like in neighborhoods straight up.
I mean, it's in Queens, but it's off in the cut to where there's a lot of space around there.
Okay,
It's not no
a lot of
immediate
space to
properties.
expand.
Right. Yeah, this place. Well, we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna get to
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
But yeah, so now that's how this was put over to us is, you know, it's gonna benefit the community. And it's like, yeah, you're just discussing the pros, you're not discussing the cons. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if you compare, there's more cons than the pros. You
Facts.
know what I mean?
Because and one of the cons is immediately, um, people that live there, they're going to be the first ones that feel the negative effects.
Exactly.
And they're going to be the ones that's going to be the loudest. Shit, it could even be a lot of negative publicity. What if you get protesters out there right out the gate? Grand opening, grand closing. You can't have that, because once you get this in motion, there's no stopping that. And it's
Yeah.
going to change that entire community. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's for sure. Like, the whole Times Square, because it's going to be like a little mini Vegas there. You know what I mean? You got
Exactly.
already crazy
And if you look at the
tourists.
areas around where these casinos are at, most of the times these areas are towed up.
It's in the ghetto.
Atlantic City, Vegas,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Vegas is the Lolos when you're outside of the strip. And even when you go to the old strip, Fremont Street,
Mhm.
that shit, they did it up recently. It's hella nice. It's a whole street that it's cracking. But this is where all the locals is at. And it's you know what I mean? This is where the people getting shot and robbed, and you know what I mean? It's a hood. It might be look good. It's like Atlantic City. You know what I mean? Atlantic City, man. You go down the road,
Exactly.
you go. Yeah,
Now,
Don't they got like highways that go from like place to like, you know, they give you access to, you know, some of the hotels are spread out pretty far.
Yeah, I mean, they're not too far off, but you know, they're around. So let's go back to the Barclays deal, right?
Okay.
It was put over to us that, you know, the Barclays deal was going to be, you know, beneficial and, you know, for the
Give hella open
community.
hell jobs for people.
Yeah, you know, it was the same kind of talking points that was put over when it came to the Barclays deal. Now, let me take a trip down memory lane with that one.
Okay.
Yeah, so okay. So let's see. They say it's more controversial arena. Third. All right. So, you know, at the end of the day, they said that the Barclays deal, you know, would bring, you know, money to Brooklyn. And it did, you know, but I don't think that it was really beneficial for the community, really, you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's a clip that I'm looking for, and I'm trying to see like where they're breaking down this deal. Barclays. Yeah, so you know, my thing is, you know, just tell, you know, both sides of the story, you know.
Facts.
Um yeah, so there you go, right here. Okay. Okay. Is it? Hmm. Okay. Oh no. No, no. All right. So okay, so now they said that the Barclays was supposed to provide jobs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which it did. People got jobs there, right?
Yeah.
But when the pandemic came,
Mm.
you know, those jobs, a lot of those jobs were lost. I'm gonna show you.
Yeah. Because it wasn't what they call it, essential workers.
No, no. I'm just gonna show you.
Okay.
Here we go.
Odds book you look at these days has the Brooklyn Nets as the betting favorite to win next year's NBA championship. And if you want to see the Nets inside their home arena, you've got to be vaccinated. In accordance with the mandate recently announced by
Yeah, I remember this
beginning
now.
September 13th, all employees and guests of Barclays Center will need to show proof of at least one vaccine dose in order to enter the arena. Barclays Center will be holding a sweepstakes to incentivize all non-management staff to get vaccinated. Each time an arena employee, including ushers, food service workers, security personnel, and others, works a shift until December 31st, that employee will receive an entry into a drawing for $25,000, which will be awarded to the winning employee on New Year's Eve.
It's extremely important for us to get our employees engaged and back to the building and working at levels that are going to provide that guest experience that we've become known for. So again, the sweepstakes that we've come up with is to help, you know, get us to those target numbers.
The first event at Barclays Center under the new mandate will be September 17th when the New York Liberty host the Washington Mystics. the PGA Tour's FedEx Cup in the shadow of New York City this weekend.
Tony Finau shot a final round 65, 6 under par to erase a 2-stroke deficit and win the Northern Trust in a.
All right, yeah,
I know. I was like, okay, we use some golf shit too.
what the hell we do? Yeah, so now I'm gonna discuss now the opening up a stadium in the community, right? Because the same, like I said, the same thing was told to us when it came to the Barclay deal. So I'm gonna discuss that.
Yeah, I forgot that whole thing. Remember they wouldn't even let Kyrie play at the home games because he refused to be vaccinated.
Yo, that shit was crazy.
That shit was crazy.
You know. All right, so what's the pros and cons of opening up a stadium in a community? It's a good question. Opening up a sports or entertainment stadium in a community can be a big deal. Like casinos and stadiums bring both opportunities and challenges. Here's a breakdown. Economic growth and jobs. Construction creates temporary jobs. Operations provide permanent roles, concessions, maintenance, security management. Can stimulate growth in surrounding businesses like restaurants, hotels, retail. Tourism and visibility attracts visitors for games, concerts, events, boosting tourism revenue, puts the city on the map, quote unquote, raising its profile nationally and internationally. A stadium can become a cultural landmark, uniting residents around teams on major events, strengthens community pride and local traditions, often leads to infrastructure investment, often leads to improvements in transportation, roads, and public transit, may revitalize underdeveloped neighborhoods, multi-use venue. Not just sports, it can host concerts, conventions, festivals, community events, providing a versatile gathering place. Okay, the cons of opening up a stadium. High costs, often publicly funded. Many stadiums require taxpayer money, which can strain city budgets. Promised economic benefits sometimes don't materialize, leaving communities with debt. Job quality and sustainability. Many stadiums' jobs are seasonal, part-time, or low-paying rather than long-term economic drivers. Traffic, noise, and congestion. Game days can overwhelm local infrastructure, leading to parking shortages, noise complaints, and public safety concerns. Displacement and gentrification. New stadiums may raise property values, pushing out long-time residents and small businesses in surrounding areas. Economic uncertainty. If teams underperform, relocate, or attendance drops, the stadium may become a financial burden. Large venues can sit empty most of the year. Some are only used 10 to 20 days annually.
That's why they.
Hold on, the last one. Environmental impact. Stadium construction and operations can bring pollution, high energy use, and a strain on local resources. So in summary, a stadium can boost tourism, community pride, local businesses, but it also risks high taxpayer costs, traffic problems, and uneven economic benefits. The outcome often depends on whether it's privately versus publicly funded, and how often it's used, and how well it integrates with local development.
Yeah, that's why they when it comes to the stadium specifically versus like casino wise, right? Like casinos almost sure money, but it's just as sure money, it's gonna, it's definitely gonna devastate the community in more negative ways than positive. Then when it comes to a stadium, looking in that thing we were watching, they said the first thing they mentioned is that during that time, the BK Nets, they were one of the finals favorites going in, betting odds wise, right? So that means to like, oh yeah, get an approval for a stadium. You know what I mean? Or like my 49ers, they played in Candlestick all my life, even before I was born, way before I was born. And then, once we got good again in the early 20 teens, you know what I mean? And we went to the Super Bowl and then we went to the NFC Championship, and it was like, boom, approved for a new stadium because they thinking, all right, this team finna be good for a while. You know what I mean? Because look at, man, when they make them new stadiums, that shit is hella expensive. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and if you're using taxpayer dollars, it's like,
I'm talking about like for the consumers too. Like when you buy tickets to these joints, hella expensive. You go into the food,
they're
everything.
kind of pricey. I ain't
Super
gonna hold you,
pricey.
they're kind of pricey.
And
Now,
then a lot of times it's the third party business. So it's like, you know, you're buying it from a third party and they jacking the price up even more. You know what I mean?
yeah. Now, I'm gonna go into a little bit of this, not too much, but it's just like a documentary on this is before the Barclays had actually got built. So
What was their, oh, okay, never mind. Let's say, what was there prior to that? Well, they'll probably mention it here.
yeah.
You cannot allow these cameras in the room.
What? Show me something that says that.
I just got the word from the lawyer. I'm talking to a lawyer right now. Okay. The lawyer's telling me that the cameras cannot belong on the roof.
Okay, we'll send the cops. How did anyone of them see us going up the elevator?
I'm not sure how. Well, because they must.
There's no camera.
No camera behind there?
Well,
They must be.
There's a camera somewhere.
Somewhere.
This is what we heard. They're going to build.
More like we will do it.
Just to give credit, this is Battle for Brooklyn, the Atlantic Yards redevelopment documentary. So,
Okay.
you know, for anybody who's wondering, you know, you can go on YouTube and check this out. It just breaks down, you know, the pros and the cons in the actual documentary form.
Moved into a new apartment we had just bought. And within months, this is what we heard. They're going to build an arena on top of our home. And I thought, there's no way this is going to happen. You're in our dining room. This is our well-appointed kitchen. My favorite part is this terracotta wall here.
That's my block right here. In case y'all wondering.
Spent literally 5 years looking for an apartment. This is my office. I do graphic design. I've been spending most of my time though fighting this development.
All right, you see where it says eminent domain?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically. Well, matter of fact, we're gonna chat GBT that one because I'm gonna get the exact.
So this is where they started to zone it prior to that?
Yeah, this is before that happened.
Yeah.
This is a documentary that was based on the people that, you know, was affected in that area when
Yeah.
the stadium was built. When I, you know, discussing the pros and the cons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Eminent, all right, chat GPT. Eminent domain.
That means like it's inevitable.
Okay, so according to chat GPT, eminent domain is a government's legal power to take private property for public use as long as the property owner is paid just compensation. This authority is recognized by the Fifth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. Nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. So,
Like for example, say you got like back in the days, you had a farm or something, and then now they're gonna veer.
I'm breaking it down right here. Examples of eminent domain: building highways, roads,
There
or
you go. I was just
airports,
about to go highways.
expanding utilities, power lines, water systems, constructing public buildings like schools, hospitals, and stadiums, revitalizing blighted areas through use of this, though use of this is controversial. Pros: public infrastructure development allows roads, bridges, and schools and utilities to be built efficiently. Economic growth can support large-scale projects. Fair compensation: property owners are entitled to be paid market value for their land. Community benefit ensures essential projects aren't blocked by a few holdouts. The cons: property rights concerns. Owners may feel forced to sell against their will. Fair compensation issues. Disputes often arise about whether payments truly reflect the property's value. That means in some cases people get lowballed.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Displacement. Families, small businesses, or whole neighborhoods can be uprooted. Controversial uses. Sometimes land is transferred to private developers. Example, for shopping centers or stadiums, raising ethical and legal debates. So
Yeah,
now,
bro.
in short, eminent domain is meant to balance individual property rights with society's need for infrastructure and development, but is often controversial when used for projects that mainly benefit private companies rather than the public, which, aka the Barclays Center.
Yeah, and like that's usually the only times eminent domain is used because, bro, like, if they're gonna put a freeway going through your shit, they gonna, you know what I mean? You have no choice.
Exactly.
It's eminent.
Exactly. People are forced to sell their properties. And
Yeah.
and what if I bought a property for 500,000 and let's say 5 years down the line it goes up 100,000, right? But if I could keep it for 10 years, I would make, let's say, 200,000. Now, if I got to sell it shorter than the 10-year span, I lose potential profit that I could have made by selling that property at that price point. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So instead of making if I
not
bought
gonna
it for
pay you,
5,
prorate it.
check it. If I bought it for 5 instead of making 600, I mean instead of making 700,000, now I'm making 600,000 because I have to sell it early because something's getting built around here and I'm being forced to sell it at market rate. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Not to mention people who are renters. If they rent in an area that's convenient for them to get back and forth to work, now they have to be uprooted and they have to go find a new place. And you know what I'm saying?
Yep. Even if it's not convenient to where they work at, it's just maybe that's all they can afford. Even, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So
just the inconvenience is usually, just as bad as like how much it might hurt you financially whenever you have to get up and uproot. You know what I mean?
exactly.
Like, because man, like, and it's only when they speak on all the benefits and this and that, and then it's they sell the people on voting it or the whatever councils that are involved, and they vote for it because what I mean, they're the ones that are going to stand to make the money off of it immediately.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And then these big companies that invest their money, they're insured. You know what I mean, and almost guaranteed certain amounts on their return on their investment. You know what I mean, and so if the shit goes south, it doesn't really hurt them because taxpayers' money is and all like. But the state of New York, they just approved a new stadium for Buffalo, the Buffalo Bills, because Buffalo Bills been one of the best teams for a minute playing in an old ass stadium, and it's it's a bad weather team during December and November, so it's like they're gonna make it to where it's like it's indoors now, or it's like the hybrid indoors where it kind of has a cap on it and there's like a ring around the bottom of the cap that's open or that can be opened. You ever seen those? SoFi is like that down in LA. That's one of the more recent stadiums. That one in the Vegas joint. But yeah, and I'm sure, whatever $5 billion, $10 billion, whatever it costs, and it's like, where's Buffalo getting that money from? If the taxpayers have to pay like X amount or the state, because it's not Buffalo itself, it's gonna be the whole state, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, so here we go right here. Okay, so I'm gonna segue over to the Nas deal real fast, right?
Yeah.
And break that down.
Ready to vote, and there's a theme in Queens, and I know Nas is a part of this. Queens get the money. Sorry, Jay-Z, we win again. I just had to rub that in. You can let the Brooklyn Borough president know that I send my regards to him. With that being said, I vote aye.
What is that guy? He's like the president. He's the president of Queens Council.
Being said, I'm getting ready to vote, and there's a theme in Queens, and I know Nas is a part of this. Queens get the money. Sorry, Jay-Z, we win again.
Yeah, so You know, the thing is, I think the difference between those two deals is, like I said, the World Resorts Casino in Queens is already there, so it's just expanding it. And remember, it's on a nice sizable piece of land. So
Yes.
making an expansion is a lot easier than you trying to build a casino from scratch on Broadway. You
Yeah.
feel what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So I think that's a harder thing. So when people say, "Oh, not Nas won," Jay-Z got denied, but what Jay-Z was trying to do was a lot more difficult than what Nas is trying to do. Because if
Yeah.
Nas wanted to build a casino from the ground up in the middle of Manhattan, he would have been met with the same, with the same backlash.
Yeah.
So,
And
you know,
and Jay-Z had some powerhouses with him. He had
yeah,
Caesars,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Like
Now,
this, yeah.
yeah, that doesn't mean that it's not going to try to reapply and put in another bid, if possible, But my thing is like when you put these things over to the hip hop community, I think you should tell both sides of the coin because you saying that a casino is going to be beneficial for you know gambling addicts, you can only tell that to a stupid person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh, you telling me that a casino is going to be beneficial to the community? Like I said, you can only tell that to a person that doesn't do their homework. You know what I mean? So now the thing is, if we live in that community, those things can directly affect us.
Yeah.
So I feel like if you're doing something that can potentially have a negative effect on the people in the community, I think both sides of the spectrum should be told. It shouldn't be put over to the community like, oh, we're doing this for hip hop or we're doing this, to help the community. And then you're not saying what are the possible cons of this right here. You know what I mean? The negative effects, you know. Like, don't talk to us like we stupid because at the end of the day, people have careers, people have jobs, people are not stupid. You know what I'm saying? Once you start, if it's a money play, they just keep it a money play. But once you start saying that, oh, it's gonna have a positive effect, yeah, but we don't speak on the people that was displaced by the Barclays deal, that
Yeah.
was forced to sell their homes under eminent domain. They was walking up and down those blocks looking for any little thing to claim eminent domain.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Cracks in the sidewalk, stuff like that. Things like that you'll see in that documentary. You know what I mean? And but the there's only a certain amount of jobs that it's going to provide. Because it's a stadium. I mean, and those jobs are
Yeah.
usually low wage, low paying jobs.
Mhm.
So who says I wants to leave my good city job to go work at the Barclays? That I don't really care. That doesn't do nothing for somebody who has
Yeah.
a solid job. It's no different than working at the mall, unless you're in the corporate sector. You feel me? So we
Yep.
really have to weigh it out before the community says, oh, it's a go. Like you really have to weigh it out. It's not something you could just say, oh, it's going to be beneficial because it's going to I bring the Nets to Brooklyn. Like
Mhm.
that has nothing to do with the community.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because even with the stadium being there, it's going to drive up the prices of parking. It's going to drive up the prices of the stores around the surrounding areas. You know what I mean? So there are things that can affect the community in a negative way, and I think it needs to be put over like that, the pros and the cons, or just not say nothing and just make your play and don't say nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But to
I
say that
mean,
got it. I
no,
want to
like, I
continue.
mean, it's the same way. I know it's kind of different, but it's in the same pretense. Like when you're okay, well, I'll use Nas for example. He used to be a spokesman for Hennessy and Heineken and things of that nature, right? Where it's like, okay, but they like, oh, the hip hop community, let's appeal to them, right? For sales purposes, right? Like Nas being involved in this casino, even though he comes from a hip hop background, I think it's just more of like this is business, right? But
Mhm.
someone like Nas, you would think, would be, more vocal about, like, if, for example, at least have a disclaimer, right? Like, yeah, I'm doing this, but You know, I'm gonna make sure it's giving 24,000 jobs to the community, whatever. You know, all the stuff they're saying is sound right. You know what I mean? So for PR purposes, they're doing it right, right?
Yeah, I mean, they both to me, they both can have the same negative effect on the community. I don't think that I don't think there's anything different because Nas
I
is doing
mean,
it
but it's
as
also in
opposed to
Queens, and
Jay-Z.
he is a Queens king. You know what I mean?
I mean, you know, I think it just comes down to
Okay,
what's gonna.
what's any different from Nas doing this than like Drake promoting those gambling sites that he gets paid from? You know what I mean?
That's
Kind of
true
the same,
too. That's true
right?
too because
I
the
guess the
thing
difference
is,
is that Nas is actually going to make buku bread having a stake in a casino. You know what I mean?
yeah, even with the sites that like Drake promotes, like Stake and stuff like that, like you know, they give him money to gamble on Stake,
Yeah.
so it creates a false perception of winning. You feel me? You're not even putting up your own bread. You see what I'm saying? Which I get it. You know, if I'm promoting this site, then I shouldn't be spending my own money to promote the site. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
But you know, the user now jumps on the site and it's like, okay, you know, I guess for me, it's just it's been a thing when it comes to hip hop. You know, people they become successful, rich, whatever, and then they turn around and they sell all the same vices to our community. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That really, you know, that doesn't really benefit us. You know what I'm saying? So they'll turn around and they'll sell us liquor. You see every rapper got a weed brand, or they promoting or they promoting go gamble. You know, Jamie Foxx with the gambling commercials and all this. They sell all the
Yeah.
stuff
What's
to the
his name?
community
Kevin
that
Hart.
they sell all the things to a community that doesn't help a community. So can you really say that they're for the community? I don't know. I don't know. Because the things you market to us don't benefit us in a positive way. You like I said, you market liquor, drugs, gambling, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, look what that's done to our community, like over the years. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
and
like do we really need
those
more
are
of
all
that
good
shit?
business ventures to be involved in, right? But like, yeah, ultimately, does it the negative effects in communities? You know what I mean? And like, for example, like even the cannabis shit, like. I'm in California, so it's just part of the customary life. But there's still other places where it's like once you go legal, you know what I mean. You're gonna see it affect the community. The kids they gonna be high as fuck.
Yeah.
Like Minnesota just came around. They just went recreational. They're gonna go through that same thing where you're gonna get a spike in DUIs of people just driving around high. Because then this is also a way of them getting money off of it too.
Exactly. It's just like when Ross what you call it?
Checkers.
Yeah. It's like,
Wing
yo, bro,
stop.
you're like 500 years old. I mean, you're overweight,
Yeah.
and it's like you're promoting checkers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That
Like,
is kind of
come on,
crazy. I
man.
never thought of that. You want to know what else is crazy to me, man? Is that like back in the days, if you're an athlete, you got a tennis shoe. But we went through the era of like because of hip hop, you had the Fat Joes and the Rick Rosses, and they all have their own shoe deals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's just
Yeah.
funny because the aesthetic of it has changed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I
Hip
mean,
hop made the aesthetic change, where it's like, what I mean, you could be a XYZ looking. And but
yeah.
if the people love you, then they'll you'll be the forefront to sell things. I mean, look at all the rappers. If they ain't doing podcasts, they're working for Gucci or Louis or doing something. They're models for all the.
Exactly. Like I like things like I like businesses that help the community. Like I'm like for example, right? I'll put this on stage real quick. Now this Styles P, you know, you got Juices for Life, you got Pharmacy for Life, you know, those things that help the community. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't you can't front on if it's going to help us or not, because you know it's there to do just that. You feel me?
Yeah.
You know, so those are like businesses that I feel like, you know, are more beneficial to our community than y'all just pitching every single liquor at us, or every
Yeah.
single weed strand, or every single, you know, way to gamble your money away. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we don't need
And
more vices.
he's doing it positive in multiple ways simultaneously. You know what I mean? Black business
That's what I'm
owner,
saying.
and he's promoting something that's healthy for the community and something that's actually out the box for the community. Because it's not, they don't, you know, growing up in the hood, they're not really telling us that, you know, to be healthy. You know what I mean? We're pretty much just getting,
They don't
we're pretty much
promote.
just consuming whatever we can get our hands on,
This
because
this the thing, right? They would tell us to, oh, go drink this liquor, go smoke this bud, whatever the case may be, go gamble your money away. But at the same time, they're going to the gym. You know what I mean? They not eating a certain type of way. You know what I'm saying? You know,
facts.
so it's just like, why sell us things that you don't even do? Like, I heard Snoop Dogg. I heard Snoop Dogg say out of his mouth one day. He said, yo, them liquor brands and them brands that he be promoting, he said he don't even drink that shit. So I said, you sell stuff to people in our community and you don't even drink what you sell. Hey, you know what I mean? So I mean, if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander, right?
Yeah, I mean,
You know?
shit. But I would also say, babe, you know, not all the juice is worth the squeeze. I mean, if unless you're willing to you put a price on your integrity, right? Or your, you know,
I think a lot of people have a price when it comes to.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
I think a lot of people have. I think
circumstantially, you can't blame some people. Some people
yeah,
might,
yeah. I'm
you know what
not.
I mean? They get a good
I'm not playing the
opportunity to
blame
get
game.
paid, but you know, it's
That's why I said it would be better if they
Yeah.
promote things that benefit it, because it's money in growth. When you look, there's money in growth. You can still make your bread. It's just like, okay, say, let's say for instance, the prices are much higher in a vegan food establishment
Oh yeah.
than a regular food establishment. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? But this
So
food is
even
actually good for you.
eating healthy and clean, you know, because
Yeah, there's money in that. There's money
Yeah.
in juice bars. There's money in vegan restaurants and vegetarian. You know,
especially when it's not the thing that's oversaturated, right? Like when there's far and few, you can pretty much set your price. You know what I mean?
exactly. You know
Like
what I mean?
if you know everybody got to make. There's so many fast food restaurants, so they got to compete each other price wise, right? But it's like if you the one juice bar, you know what I mean? And then of course naturally once that starts popping, you see all these other individuals and they got their own little juices the life, you know, ripoffs start popping up. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, I'm fine with that, because it
it's a good thing.
pushes for us to, you know, like to put the
It
vices aside.
adds normality to it too.
Yeah, it pushes us to put the vices aside and make that cool. Like, because remember, like, you know, growing up in the hood, you know, we was drinking
40s,
the quarter waters and the
quarter
tropical
waters.
fantasies and them cheap sodas and all that. We didn't know what the hell was in that
Shasta.
stuff, man.
We used to drink the Shasta sodas. They're like 15 cents.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we didn't know what the hell was in that stuff. You know what I mean?
Select soda. I remember
So
all generic
yeah,
brands.
so my thing is instead of making those companies famous and, you know, and rich and all that, and we destroying our health in the process, why don't we gotta make the healthy shit pop. We gotta make that the thing. You know, we gotta get that hot. You know what I'm saying? You know, so that's that I like, you know, when people promote businesses to us that can actually help us instead of do the opposite. You know what I mean? Because there's more things to sell to our community than liquor, and weed, and casinos, bro. You know what I'm saying? I know. Listen. Get your money. Get your money. But I just feel like a lot of rappers do the same stuff, and it's like, damn, how many of y'all gonna open up a juice bar? How many of y'all open up a restaurant and y'all food be like, you know, be crazy unhealthy? Like y'all invest in these franchises like Checkers.
It's a race to be the richest, right? Just like how rappers, I got the most money and I got the biggest house and the
real
most.
talk. So if it's like that, leave community out of it.
Yeah,
you know what I
that
mean?
is true.
leave community out of that, man. Just make your money. But don't sit up here lying to the people, though. You know what I'm saying? Or putting stuff in our community that ain't really gonna help us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, that's my thing. You know what I'm saying? Because if you look at it, Bogey, on some real shit, bro, we have, like I said, we have liquor, weed,
Right.
and gambling all marketed to us, right?
Yeah.
Not to mention this, the stadiums and the casinos and all of that stuff that can potentially hurt the community. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, damn, like, but then y'all say, oh, it's all about the people, it's all about community. But we looking at y'all business moves and it's not lining up with what y'all saying out y'all mouth.
Yeah, for real. I mean, it's like, you know.
So do you really? So my
maybe
thing is this.
maybe
My
she
thing
get
is
into
this.
politics.
So my thing is this. Do you really care about the community or not? Because if you don't, just leave the community out of these conversations. You see what I'm saying? Or they want to call it the culture. Nah, man. Certain things shouldn't be a part of our culture.
Yeah, and then even the guy who's the
Being
president.
an addict, being a gambler or a drug addict or whatever, it shouldn't be a part of our culture.
Yeah.
That's degenerate shit.
You
That
ain't
doesn't
lying,
build a
huh?
culture.
It's some of the word I didn't think about it like that. That's a very solid point. It's like it's the most stereotypical, the negative connotations that they and the stereotypes that they put on us. That's what they trying to you know what I mean? That's that's pretty much all the motherfuckers promote. It's kind of crazy when you think about it.
Exactly. Or, you know, and I'm not saying,
I mean, do you think when white people think of shooting dice, right? They think about a casino, right? But when we think of shooting dice, we're thinking about shooting dice with the homies, right? Outside. You know what I mean? It's a different, right? And it's funny because, you know, when it comes to
even like and look, even and I ain't even trying to knock your boy, but even like E40, right?
Mhm.
I looked at the ingredients on the back of his burrito, right? Because he sells food, frozen foods, right?
Yeah, hell yeah.
So I looked at the ingredients and all the stuff that you don't want in your body.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like Maggi and Mo's in there and all type of shit. And I'm just like, damn, bro, like you're not eating this stuff on the regular, but you're gonna sell it to us, and we gonna give it to our kids. We gonna eat it. We gonna give it to our kids, and that shit ain't helping us health wise, bro. But you're not eating that on a regular.
Fuck no.
You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So it's like, you know, don't try to mix community in with business. Like, just if you're gonna do your business, do your business. Leave the ethics alone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's my thing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I can't tell you how to get your money and whatever. You know, get your money however you get it, but just don't put community with it. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're selling us things that potentially can destroy our community or keep us in a slump, then you don't give a damn about the community. You care about your pockets more than you care about the community, and that's fine. Just leave the community out of it. You see what I'm saying?
Facts.
So that's my whole conclusion to, you know, this whole breakdown, this whole episode. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think I was very well spoken. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know what I mean?
I
see
tend
it
to
too
agree
much.
with everything you're saying there.
I see it too much. I see it way too much. I see where, you know, like I said, you know, it's either, like I said, you see a rapper looking, you know, because
he's getting his money.
Yeah, right now they're marketing. You know, they're marketers. You know, part-time marketers.
And
You know what I'm saying?
what's crazy? Everybody see that, they want to do that too, so they'll latch onto another product themselves or some kind of business,
Yeah.
or whatever, and
It's fine. Like, you know, I'm cool. It's nothing wrong with doing promotion deals and marketing deals and stuff like that. But my thing is, like, why would you sell us something that you wouldn't use yourself?
Yeah, or feed your kids, or
feed your kids, or, you know what I'm saying? Why would you sell us that? You feel me?
Yeah.
I'm the type of nigga, like, don't get it twisted. Like, yeah, there's money on the table, but I would try to look for the better option. You know what I mean? So instead of promoting Checkers, let me find a vegan restaurant that I could do a promotional deal with and promote that instead. Or let me link up with Styles P and see what he got going on and promote that instead. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, the juices for like the pharmacy. Be like, we need more of those in the hood.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So we can stay healthy. You know, people in the neighborhood can stay healthy.
And those are the type of businesses that like a juice bar, for example, man, they're gonna help the local farmers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's like you need fresh product all the time.
Yeah, my man owned a juice bar in Queens, you know what I'm saying? And he been doing it for years. And you know, going up there, pulling up on him. I ain't pull up on him in a while, but shout outs to Juices and Gems though. You feel me?
Yeah, man.
Shout outs to Juices and Gems, man. It's my partner that run that spot, you know what I mean? And you know, it helps the community. You feel what I'm saying? Like you go in there, he have you sample different juices and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? So that's my thing. Like there's money in being healthy, bro. There's money in doing things that actually benefit people. There's money in that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, you got you got your gas guzzler V8, you know what I mean? And then you have the electric car. You see what I'm saying?
Your commuter.
Which is supposedly better for the environment because it's not giving off all of the smoke and the emissions or whatever the case may be. And it's better on fuel, like not fuel, your fuel economy. You don't use no fuel. So you're not, you're only paying to charge it. So it actually saves you money. You save money on the tax benefits because they give you like a $6,000 or $7,000 tax benefit when you buy an EV. Then you're saving money on fuel, and then it's better for the environment than your average V8 gas guzzler or V6 gas guzzler. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And people are buying the hell out of the Teslas and the EVs and stuff like that. You feel me? So there's money in doing things that benefit people as opposed to things that don't benefit people. You feel what I'm saying?
Nah,
so that's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to like hold their feet to the fire and say, oh man, they just the worst people. Nah, ain't none of that. It's just, when you're gonna do things that don't benefit the community, don't involve community in it. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. Versus like most people that aren't directly related or in the situation or live in the area, and even just avid hip hop fans are gonna be like, yeah, Nas, he getting it, bruh. Let's go. Nas got a casino. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but they're not seeing the bigger picture.
But they're not gonna really, either, because if you're not directly related to the situation or living in that area, you're not thinking of, you're not gonna even automatically think of the ones that are negatively affected. You're just gonna think of like, also some boss shit that Nas is doing in Queens. He from Queens, look at him. Now you got a casino boss.
But think about this, right? Like a lot of us come from the struggle. A lot of us come from the ghetto. You feel what I'm saying? And and when you look at in the ghetto, right? Look at the things that plague people in the ghetto. Like, it's mad gambling addicts in the ghetto.
Yeah, gambling, drugs, and alcohol.
All right, you know what I'm saying?
And
like
gang violence and
things, and all the extras, right?
Yeah.
But those things stagnate people.
Drug dealing.
Whether you
there's a ghetto economy that
has
all
exactly
those things circulate in the ghetto economy.
Exactly, it all circulate, but they also leave the people in the community stagnant.
Fuck yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if you're gambling and you have a gambling problem, then 9 times out of 10, your credit might not be good, your bills not getting paid on time. You know what I'm saying?
You stuck.
You stuck. In that revolving door. If you don't regulate how much you drink or how much you smoke or whatever the case may be, you know what I'm saying? That's taking money out your pocket. Not only is it doing that, but it's also tearing your ass up. You feel me? The bad food. That's in the ghetto. It's bad people on my block that died of health issues.
Yeah.
Heart attacks, strokes, you know what I'm saying? Shit like that, sending them to early graves. I'm talking about in their 40s. I know at least 5 that died in their 40s off of eating bullshit all their life.
For real.
You know what I mean? The only time you can buy healthy shit, but what gets promoted to us, what gets pushed to us? There's a liquor store and a Chinese food store on every other corner. There's a Kennedy Fried Chicken on every other block. That's salty ass chicken with that greasy ass Chinese food where they keep reusing the oil. They don't sell nothing. They don't steam nothing in there. Everything is fried.
Yeah.
What you think that's doing to us health wise? You know what I'm saying? So it keeps us where we're at. You feel me? And I don't. Me personally, I don't feel like it has to be that way. You know what I mean? I feel like there's money. If you're looking to make money, y'all got to get y'all money, right? There's money in doing things that benefit, that help the community. There's money in that. There's a lane for that. There's a lane for more vegan takeout spots. There's a lane for more juice bars. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a lane for more medicine, for more natural medicine shops.
Yeah.
You know, the black seed oil and the oil of oregano and all of the things that kind of keep the sicknesses away. You feel me?
Yeah.
There's a lane for that. There's money in that. There's money in having an EV car company. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's money in things that help. Even back then when it was a lot of abandoned buildings in New York City and stuff like that, and you see just the smoke is just all crazy. Now, if half the community has electric cars, and it kind of cuts down the smoke, because you go through New York, you can smell what's in the air.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can smell them fumes in the air. You feel me? Especially when you go to the subways and all that. You feel what I'm saying?
That is
even
crazy.
California. That when California got smog laws.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying?
I mean, shit. When you just on, like, you ride a convertible in California, that shit crazy on the freeway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You never realize how much carbon is actually, like, you can smell the burning carbon everywhere, but because you're usually in a car passing by. When you're in a convertible or you on a freeway with the windows down, like, that shit's crazy.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
Especially in LA.
Pardon me, I'm having a little Sharif moment right now, you know what I'm saying? But
Nah,
but
man.
at the end of the day, I just feel like
you're speaking some real shit.
I just feel like all the things that get promoted to us is things that are meant to destroy us. If you look, when it comes to rap, you got the gangbangers, they promoting this lifestyle, you know what I mean, popping pills and doing drills and doing all this shit. That shit don't help nobody. That's gonna send dudes to jail, or you're gonna be a fiend. You know what I'm saying? Then you got the you got on the for the ladies, the top rappers or rappers that's bearing it all. You know what I'm saying? Kicking the ass, you know what I'm saying? All that type shit.
Outside
So
of like Rap City, right? Who's like just a female rapper that's actually barred up. Everyone else, they're all twerk bots and shit. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. But what you think that does to the young ladies that's growing up?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They watching stuff like that. Because would you let your daughter watch a Sexy Red video?
Fuck no.
All right. You feel me? So, you got that.
Even like Cardi B, at least her commercial appeal, she was fun and bubbly. You know what I mean? Like, yes, she has the raunchy twerk shit, and you know what I mean? But like, yeah, because there was,
yeah, but in a way, she's still a part of what I
exactly what you're talking about. Of course, I mean, she's one of the leaders of it.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So my thing is like to promote, the men being, thugs and gangsters, and the women being, promiscuous, and then you promoting liquor, drugs, bad food, gambling. I mean, damn. You know what I'm saying? Like everything that you promote that's marketed to us is like meant to destroy the community. It's not meant to build the community up. You know what I'm saying?
You know what's crazy is like back in the days, like in early hip hop, like when we're speaking of music and like the things that were allowed to be broadcasted to us, right? When I say allowed, because it is the powers that be, right, that allow certain shit. Like they allowed they NWA, well, they loved NWA because what NWA was rapping about, they like the fuck shit. It's almost like mass control, like, oh, all right, incite all of them to want to be like these gangsters right here, and they'll take care of themselves.
I watched the stages because when New York first came out, New York, started the hip hop thing back in the the 70s, 80s, you know what I'm saying?
But Sugar
now,
Hill
they didn't promote gangster shit.
Nah.
They didn't promote a gangster lifestyle. They more was on subconscious shit, you know what I'm saying? But once it went over to the West, it was easy, NWA, and then from NWA was like it was like the lightweight gangster, gangster music, right?
It was considered reality rap before they even
It was
had
reality
the term,
rap. Yeah, it was
before they had the
reality
term
rap.
gangster rap, right?
Yeah,
But
it was,
then,
it was
you also
lightweight, right?
had, but during that time too, you had variety in hip hop, right? You had conscious rappers, you had reality rappers, you had, you know,
but once it
Fresh
got
Prince in them, where it was like some bubblegum pop rap, you know what I mean?
yeah, but once it got to Death Row, you know,
that
that's
was
when the gangster shit was all full out, you know what I mean, full speed, and then boom, we lose two of the biggest rappers in the game. You see what I'm saying?
Then it becomes like a commercial thing. Now
but you see how that, but you see how
it's big business though at that time too.
But look,
big
you
business.
see how promoting the gangster lifestyle came back around to bite us.
Yeah.
We done lost two of the biggest rappers in the game at that time behind some gangster shit. Now, if Pac was still on
they weren't around promoting too much bringing the world together type shit.
Exactly. If Pac was still on his conscious shit and Big was on, you know, on his conscious shit, you think that would have ever happened? No.
For real.
What would they be beefing about? You know what I mean? So
he say, she say.
You know
I mean, a lot of those things.
I'm not saying it wouldn't be no beef, but I'm just saying like it was the energy of that whole shit too. The media is from, you know, the magazines and TVs and all that, they promoting that, oh, East Coast versus West Coast, all this nonsense. Boom, both rappers get killed.
The fuck shit sells. Okay, look at this. If you have a diss track from some like Nas, when he was dropping Ether, he made people buy the album for that. Now you want to hear him respond to Jay, you got to buy this album. He's gonna sell the album. See, now you flash forward.
I mean, we heard it.
Yeah, for sure. But you know what I meant, right?
Yeah, you wanted to hold, you wanted to keep that in your collection.
You want to keep that thing. You want to have it. You're gonna buy that album. Look at this. You have guys that have funked in the industry on some serious shit. You know, like YFN, Lucci, and Thug. And then here they are. They just did features on each other's albums. And I don't even think that's necessarily going to help that shit. Like, no one's tuning in to see who's buried a hatchet. People want
you know why?
Shit.
Because
they want the fuck shit.
Exactly. You know what I mean? That's the thing. We have to make that profitable. It's on us to do that.
Exactly. Because we can't. That is a good point right there.
If we keep following the dollar, we're going to follow the dollar straight to hell.
Yeah.
Straight up.
You know, you want to know?
It's just like look, it's just like back in the days. It's just like back in the days. Somebody asked you, would you do some crazy shit for $1 million?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the same thing. And you say
would ask if you would S a D for any kind of amount. Like, fuck you.
But look, you say yeah, right? And the dude would say, okay, but you're willing, but only for $1 million. Nah, if you do it for $1 million, you'll do it for 500,000. You'll do it for 100,000. You probably do it for 10
You'll be
grand.
desperate and do it for fucking whatever money that you needed just to get a meal.
The point blank, you got a price. You got a price at the end of the day. Yeah. So like I said, if we follow the money, we're going to follow the money straight to hell.
Yeah, bro.
You know what I mean? We have to start making these things. We have to start making these things cool. It's cool to be healthy. It's cool to work out. It's cool to it's
cool to be healthy and grow old. It's
cool to do that.
I grew up, live fast, die young. That was the stupid shit.
That's bullshit, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
Then when I became a father and I started growing, growing up, and it was like, man, I want to be here as long as I can and as functional as I can, right? Because man, a motherfucker might be 80, but you've been a vegetable since you were 60 because of your, the life that you lived prior to that. That's your ass. You know what I mean? Exactly. I don't want to live that life. I don't want to live that life. You know what I mean? It's almost like karma on yourself.
But see, the thing is, we clown dudes for being old. We call them old head, or you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, he old.
Yeah,
he old.
It's cool to grow up and grow old.
The goal is to get old. The goal is not to stay and die young. You know what I mean? You know how many chapters, like, I like, even when I thought about my mans that, you know what I'm saying, that passed away, like,
rest in peace.
You know, rest in peace. And I compare him to my pops that passed away, right? Rest in peace, right? There's so many. My pops passed at like 76. You feel me? My man passed at 21. You know what I'm saying? There's so many chapters that he was missing, so many stages that he was missing.
He was a baby.
Because he died early. You know what I'm saying?
You know what's
So
unfortunate
the
about
goal
our
is not to
generation?
die
We
early
felt
because
we were
it's
grown.
huh?
We felt we were, our generation especially, we felt we were grown at that age. You know what I mean? Like we didn't, and it's the unfortunate circumstances of a lot of us in our generation growing up, we already didn't live 2 lives by the time we got to 21. You know what I mean? Because we were outside, you know what I mean, for a long time. And but it's sad because that's part of the, like what you said earlier, you know, the cycle where people are stuck. You know what I mean? You're
Now don't get
stagnant.
it. Now don't get it twisted. Like shout out to the entertainers or just people from the community that do things to help the community. Like I
Yeah.
seen, like, you know, Snoop had the football program.
Yeah, he still got it. Yeah.
Deion Sanders had one too. He got one
Yep.
too. You know what I mean? You know, and like I said, Styles P, like I mentioned before, you know, people that do things to actually help the community because there's money in that.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? But I feel like we gotta start making that the norm. You know what I mean? We gotta start making eating healthy, you know, living healthy, you know what I'm saying, you know, staying away from BS, staying out of jail, staying out of trouble. We gotta start making that the norm. You know what I mean? We gotta start making that the norm because one thing I can't stand is a rapper that done made it, right? But then he still promotes gangster shit to the youth. But you living in a nice house in a nice neighborhood, your kids go to private school. You know what I'm saying? Y'all eating clean every day. You feel me? But you promoting all this bullshit the community you just came from. You see what I'm saying?
Facts.
I don't respect that, bro. I don't respect that, especially when you up there and you really holding like that. I don't respect that. You start selling us the same garbage to keep us in the same place. You know what I mean? But you're gonna give your family the best of the best. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But I could go on and on all day about it, man. But you know,
and that's gonna be their justification for why they do what they got. What I'm doing, what I got to do to feed my family, bro. Like, you know what I mean?
even if I gotta step on your neck,
Yeah,
that's basically what you're saying through your actions.
Exactly.
If you selling the community shit that can destroy the community, you basically saying I gotta feed my family, even if I gotta step on your neck. You know what I mean?
And
You know, I don't care. My
when I feel
family
like,
got to
and
eat.
I get by any means necessary, but there's so many means.
There's so many different means,
Yeah.
especially when you have the means now. You're not in broke mode the way you gotta grind to get some kind of footing. You know what I'm saying? To stabilize yourself. You're past stable,
Mhm.
and you still, you know what I mean? Like, come on, man. Like enough is enough, man. Enough with that bullshit, man. You know, we got to start making that shit, you know, the norm. You know what I mean? And that's just what it is, man.
That's a bar,
But
man.
let the people know where they can find you at, Bogey.
Man, you can find me on Instagram, GenWealthNet _ So that's GEN WealthNet, all one word, followed by _. And you can find me on YouTube, GenWealthNet on YouTube. That's GEN space wealth space net. And man, we're just bringing all kind of Gen Wealth, man. You know what I mean? Information on a bunch of your fantasy football isms. You know what I mean? But then also, you know, we bring you we got a news show, bringing you all the latest and greatest crazy things from every corner of the great states of United.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? Shout out to our guy Slim. You know what I mean? He's also
Shout
part
out
of
to
that show.
JD and
You know what I mean?
Hard to Start Fantasy Football. Shout out to him.
You know what I mean? And
throwing his numbers over. Y'all go check him out.
yeah, but you know, we definitely on damn near we're on 6 days a week on the Gen Wealth Net, pretty much. So, you know what I mean? Come check us out.
Yes, sir. You can catch me here on From a Fan's Perspective. I'm Slim. It's Bogey. We out.
Peace.
Peace.